This is WCM's Park Update, a weekly show covering the outdoor hospitality industry, hosted by Ben Quiggle and Mike Gast. During each episode, you'll hear from special guests and campground experts on topics that will help your park flourish. WCM's Park Update is a production of Woodall's Campground Magazine.
Hi, I'm Ben Quiggle, editor of Woodall's Campground Magazine, and this is another edition of WCM's Park Update, sponsored by Bush Tech Safari, and of course my esteemed colleague Mike Gast, former Vice President of Communications of Kampgrounds of America, is here. And then we've got a current Kampgrounds of America employee, Darin Uselman, has joined us, the Chief Operations Officer. And Darin, I guess, how long have you been in the COO role? I know didn't you move roles kind of rapidly over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I have. A couple of years ago, I was the Chief Operations Officer for the franchise unit, and then transitioned in 2022 to lead our company operations for the portfolio that we own and operate. And then at the beginning of this year, I was named the Chief Operations Officer for the entire operations function.
So, I imagine everybody who watches the show has heard of Kampgrounds of America, but you guys have two different sections, right? You have like a corporate owned portfolio, and then you have like a franchise division, right? So you have different roles.
Yeah, we have one big happy KOA family for sure, right? we have 500 plus locations, but yes, I mean KOA owns and operates a portfolio of campgrounds, about 51 parks today, and then certainly we have our franchise locations as well across all of North America, United States and Canada, totaling a little bit over 460 or so. So
when I left there, and there was about this was back in 2020, I think they were approaching 30. I don't know if they had 30 company-owned properties yet, and that's really expanded. There's been a real concentration on acquiring parks. Is that something that obviously was intentional, but is it going to continue?
Yeah, I mean, I think the key point here is that when we look at our growth strategy in general, right, our focus is just on growth at large, right? I mean, I think that's the big takeaway. It's really threefold, right? Certainly, first and foremost, we are trying to grow the franchise system. We are growing our own portfolio and have over the last several years. And then obviously we're trying to protect our flags in all the locations we are. There has been, maybe more predatory buyers over the last few years, and we've taken that very seriously. And, some of the properties that we've added to our portfolio have really been in large part to preserve our wonderful footprint across North America.
I've heard Toby O'Rourke, and I think I've heard you talk a little bit about the corporate side of things. Why is the corporate portfolio so important to what you guys do at KOA overall? I mean, I know you guys will normally test a lot of things maybe in the corporate side, right? And maybe bring those over to the franchise side.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really speaks to our operational excellence that we have across KOA in general. When you're in the same business that your franchisees are, I think it really lends itself to being a great stakeholder at the table with them, right? We understand the nuances of what it takes to run a property and all the challenges that go along with it, and obviously the successes that go along with it as well. But I think it allows us to be, I don't know if I want to say bilingual, in the sense that not only do we have the expertise of franchising for over 60 years, but then obviously we also operate properties, which leads to a lot of benefits that we can share with our franchisees as well. I mean, if you start with the people side of things, if we just focused on people for a second, we certainly understand the labor market that exists out there and the challenges that come along with it, and in trying to build out the best management team possible for success. We have a lot of great processes that we've documented within our company-owned portfolio that we can share as best practices, which I think is wonderful. We got great benchmarking, so when we get the KOA family together and, we're doing maybe 20 groups or an activity like that, we can share, our experience with them, and we can benchmark, with each other, which I think is really great. And Ben, as you alluded to, we certainly test a lot of our products and new things that we're offering through our company-owned portfolio as well. So, I mean, I think these are just a few of the examples that lead to, our portfolio being a strength really in our whole business, schema of how we do business at KOA.
For most of the last 20, 25 years at KOA, there was a real it was a campground with a set of owners, there really wasn't a lot of group ownership out there, and that's really changed in the last few years too. There's a lot of groups out there now, small groups, 2 to 3 campgrounds, and some larger type, more corporate groups that have come in. Is that changed the way KOA does business?
Well, I think we have a lot of multi-property owners within the KOA franchise system already. And honestly, like so many of our owners, they're very successful at what they do. I think in terms of offering, a value proposition to those owners is very important, because oftentimes, they run great properties, right? And we want to be able to emulate that and multiply that. And we certainly have seen that with a lot of our families that have owned and operated KOAs that have, entered into this multi-unit franchising model. They do a great job. They run beautiful properties, and just like every franchise owner, we need to make sure that we're, obviously offering the services and the suite of offerings that help them be successful. So, I think we continue to try to rise to the challenge to make sure that we're doing that each and every day across the whole spectrum of ownership that we have within KOA.
Yeah. You just opened, I think a franchisee just opened the Bryant, Texas KOA, Bryan College Park, Texas KOA. And I guess, what's the activity been like on that side of the business? I guess on the franchisee side, is there still a lot of interest? Are you still seeing a lot of new developments on that side of the business?
Yeah, I mean, yes, is the short answer. Our conversion team, our sales team, really has been very strong throughout the first part of the year. We have, from a statistic perspective, we've done 7 conversions, right? Independents coming into the KOA family, which is awesome. We've signed a couple of new build developments, and then we're still seeing some existing franchise locations exchanging hands, for new entrants that want to come in and buy one of the existing locations. But yeah, from a new development standpoint, yes, there's still activity. We have new construction that is underway, across many locations that have signed up with KOA over the years, and excited to see this most recent one in Texas come to fruition and get open. Excited for them as owners.
What about the expansion of existing KOAs? There's a lot of activity out there. The financing still available to make those types of expansions?
Well, I think that's one of the things that KOA has done really well over the years. We've partnered with a great bank, an Independence Bank that really has been a wonderful resource for our entire franchise system. So they're right there in the trenches with the franchise locations and continue to work with them to help them, really realize the obviously the campground of their dreams. In terms of, is the system expanding? Absolutely. We have a program that we rolled out a few years back, our royalty incentive program, that really helps our franchisees grow. And when our franchisees grow, we grow. So it's really a, demonstration of our commitment to kind of meeting our franchisees where they are. And fortunately, requests continue to come in where they're looking to take their worst to first. And I think that's certainly a theme that we're still seeing across the system.
When you're looking at the corporate portfolio, obviously you guys just added 3 properties to that location not too long ago. I think it was in May when you took over the Lynn family's parks. There was 3, the ones in Billings, and then there was 2 Yellowstone locations. What do you guys look for when you're thinking about taking a park as a corporate property, I guess? What types of things are you looking for on the corporate side?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly have our metrics that we look for in terms of, the size of the property, the location of the property, right? Fortunately, over a number of these years, we've built terrific relationships with our franchisees that, they think about their succession plan maybe. And because of the trust that we've been able to build over the years, they sometimes they come to us directly, obviously, to purchase that particular location, which is great. But our operations model certainly, looks for a little bit larger size park and in locations that obviously make sense, for the KOA system. We love to be able to, go into a market where really we need a presence, and look for that opportunity to be able to expand into location, to offer the KOA brand to new campers, in markets where maybe we don't have a presence today.
So the Billings location was always a franchise park. Now all of a sudden you've got total control over that. Is it going to be sort of a breeding ground for new things?
Mike, it's a balance we're going to have to strike, right? Because we're running a business there, right? We're trying to make it as successful as humanly possible, but without a doubt, it's going to lend to a lot of opportunities for us to use it as a kind of a training campground, if you will, for a variety of things, internally. I think it really speaks to new owners coming into KOA and our ability to be able to take them over there to kind of demonstrate one of our operations. I think that's great. I think it's also going to be a wonderful opportunity for our employee base to be a little bit more ingrained and in tune with obviously the operations of a campground, which should make us even more effective than we are today. So certainly see some benefits and some opportunities by owning the Billings KOA.
Have you noticed, like, obviously there's economic concerns right now with inflation is still pretty high, and, things are kind of steady now on the interest rate side, but we'll have to see. Has that been impacting at all any of these new developments, or like the KOA system as a whole, or like the ability for park owners to get financing and different things?
Yeah, I think when you think about franchising at its core, right? What franchising enables a particular owner to do is tap into a system, that has been proven over a number of years. In the case of KOA, we've proven our business model over the course of 60 years of franchising locations, right? So I think in economic downturns, it's oftentimes that's when we do extremely well as a franchisor, right? People are looking for opportunity to come in and tap into a system that's proven and has tools that can make them more effective. And I think it also sheds a highlight on a lot of the things that we bring to the table operationally. Maybe being able to have all the marketing resources that are already branded for you. You don't have to go and have that expense of doing that, right? We have templates that you can leverage internally as an example, which can really help on the expense saving side as well, right? So we can help augment and help people save money. Also, during economic downturn, relative to things that we provide for them. The other thing I might offer is we were recently recognized as one of the top recession-proof businesses by the Franchise Business Review. Right, we're really proud of that accolade and that recognition, and certainly we feel that our business model has proven itself over six decades of operations.
So we were talking earlier about the new building that the KOA is constructing, a new corporate headquarters there in Billings on the outskirts of the western side of town. And, besides having your own new palatial office, I'm sure, it's also going to be the home of KOA University. What else is there for the franchisee that's really going to enhance that experience due to the new office?
Well, I do want to talk for a minute about KOA University since you brought it up at that new location, because I think the training room is really one of the things that is going to be pretty dynamic for us in general. We have the ability to compress or expand the room, to fit a variety of different size groups and the needs that they might have. From a tech perspective, obviously we've invested heavily in making it very state of the art to be able to demonstrate all the things that we want to train our franchisees on. Our video capabilities will be able to be adaptable to the use that we're planning to do for that particular event. We're going to have some great accessibility. Other features that I think you're going to see throughout the building is really this connection to the outdoors, right, and each other, which is KOA's mission. I think it's been very intentional in terms of the selection of the location that really highlights a lot of the beauty of Montana in general, right? When you look out windows, you can see, the backdrop of the Beartooth Mountains as an example. And, even some of the features within the building, being able to walk indoors and outdoors to connect to a fire experience and, a small amphitheater, right? It really does lend itself to those outdoor experiences that KOA is trying to bring to life in its everyday business. So it's a lot of that intentionality and thought that's went into the new building. And we're certainly excited to get in there.
KOA University is something that I think a lot of independents don't realize occurs. It's not just what you bring to the party for the annual conventions around the country. But that intensive 1 week hand-holding really that happens. The amount of introductions that are made, the amount of information that's exchanged to get those folks off to the right start is just it really is one of a kind. I've been through many of those sessions in my time, and I was always impressed with what the franchisees were able to take away from that. and the confidence they had when they left that school.
Yeah. I mean, KOA University is just it's a wonderful event that really helps, number one, connect, a grouping of new franchise owners and managers together. It is not uncommon that during a week of KOA University that core group that's been introduced to themselves will have, potentially even a lifelong relationship, right? Where these relationships extend beyond those walls and transfer over 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 plus years. And, you see them get together maybe at convention, and that KOA University was really the catalyst for that relationship to begin forming. But yes, it's a hands-on approach. It's a wonderful orientation to all things KOA. Really, introducing people to the faces and the programs that they need to tap into to be successful as a KOA franchise. And I'm happy to say that ecosystem has expanded even further, right? You have the in-person component, but the KOA University ecosystem also extends into the online platform now, and we have plenty of training, materials available for our franchisees there as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a break real quick and recognize our sponsor, Bush Tech Safari, and we will be right back with Darin Uselman.
No, ma'am. This is a 5-star establishment. We do not have tents.
Another one.
Another one.
With bespoke modern design, state-of-the-art craftsmanship, and only the finest quality materials, Bush Tech Safari manufactures tents that take luxury to the next level. A true combination of 5-star luxury and a 5 billion star experience.
Tents.
Better, best, Bush Tech.
Hi, welcome back to WCM's Park Update, sponsored by Bush Tech Safari, and we are talking with Darin Uselman, COO of Kampgrounds of America. And I guess, Darin, when you're looking at what your franchisees and maybe even on the corporate side, what you're doing, are you seeing more people trying to turn these parks into like destination points where people will actually stay at the park versus maybe just like, stops, on their way to the destination or somewhere where they come to stay the night at, but they go off the park, I guess?
Ben, I would say it's a yes and. Right. We certainly have our brand positions that we go to market with, whether it's a journey, holiday, or resort. But I think to specifically, answer your question about, the destination component, sometimes our locations are very destination driven. Right. And other times, our franchisees are coming in to really target specifically, maybe an underserved market where we really need that KOA presence. But I think regardless of what it is, whether or not it's a destination location or not, obviously KOA brings a ton of value to that. And I would say that from two perspectives, right? If you're the destination location, right, there's increased competition oftentimes in those markets, and the KOA brand itself can really help, our franchisees obviously, set themselves apart, in a crowded space. And if you're looking to, go into a market where maybe it's not necessarily destination driven, but you're really trying to, put a KOA flag into an underserved market, then obviously the KOA brand does great things from not having to start from scratch, right? We've got the tools that are in place to really help them grow in that market.
So
Go ahead, Bren.
Yep. I've always been impressed by the type of work you guys put into creating different things like your paw pens, I think KOAs were one of the first ones to really add decking, to the RV sites, your premium RV sites. And then you guys came out with this elevated signature design at the end of May. I guess, what keeps you guys pushing forward on the innovation front, I guess? And, are you expecting a lot of people to take a look at this elevated design? Is this based on customer demand?
It is our data and our research certainly, helped, guide the decision to look at the KOA signature site, right, as a potential opportunity. I would say that the KOA patio site is so important, right, in our inventory mix, and you mentioned kind of, bringing to life, decking or a recreational space that's on site. I think we put a lot of time and attention to do that in putting a lot of focus there to really create that on-site experience our campers are looking for, a place for them to get out of their rig, spread out a little bit and enjoy, up to the beautiful outdoors. And that's what a KOA patio site does.
Yeah.
We continue to see those get added, over time. Each and every year, we continue to grow that. It's a big part of the royalty incentive plan that I had mentioned earlier in the interview. And so we want to continue to, double down on that particular site offering and make it as robust as possible. But certainly our data relative to the signature site itself, said, hey, there is another segment that's looking to come, and potentially they're even coming in a group or a larger area, and they want to be able to have this recreational opportunity to really bring more people together to their site. And so I think there's that component as well that I think will really make the signature site special as well. Although I don't know that there will be as many of those as the KOA patio across, but I do think that there will be enough penetration that it will offer something significant to the camper that's looking for that.
So getting back to education for a second, one of the new aspects that I think KOA added in just the last few months is a management school. And that's open for the franchisees to send their folks to. Plus, I guess the second part of my question was, where is KOA finding the management expertise that they need to run these parks that you're purchasing?
Yeah, great question, and I certainly appreciate that. Campground management schools really kicked off, a couple of years ago. We did our first one in the fall of 2022. We had a great spring class this year, and we'll have another one this fall. But really, when you think about our management school and what we're trying to help, it's an internal program to really try to help our franchisees, create that management team that really can, help take their campground to the next level. When they come to the campground management school here in Billings, we offer a day of design, right? How do I as a manager, look at this business in a way that I can help my owner realize the success of the campground, and a lot of times that has to do with making sure that you've got the right inventory, to offer to your particular guests. So we do some focus on design, and site improvements. We'll do some focus on commercial strategy. And, as a manager, what reports do I need to run? Where do I need to look to make sure that I'm, putting the right promotions out there and I'm winning locally? It's something that we emphasize to each one of our franchises that, you have to win locally, right? As great as our national marketing is, we certainly want you to take all those wonderful tools and apply it to your local market as well. So we have a day where we focus on that with our managers. A good manager obviously has to, know how to budget and think ahead, right? You can't just work in the business. You've got to work on the business as well. So we have, a curriculum designed to really help them, focus on their budgeting skills and their projection skills, their long-term planning skills. And then lastly, we obviously people's a huge component of any business. It's your biggest resources and biggest asset. So we do spend quite a bit of time, helping people understand, the HR side of things and probably more importantly, even just that communication component. When I'm running a big facility or a property, right? How do I keep my team members, engaged and communicating well? That's so important, I think, to the success and the vitalization of a business.
Yeah.
Mike, I think you had a second component there. Was it where we kind of?
Yeah. Where are the new managers coming from for KOA? I mean, now you've got all these properties to run.
Yeah, we also have an internship program that we launched this year, which we're really excited about. So we're thinking about the younger demographic and partnering with hospitality schools to begin looking at those as great resources, obviously, for future talent. There's only 11% of campers, work in the outdoor industry, but another 29% of campers want to. Right. So when you think about management, you got to think about, people that are looking for second careers. And so we do spend a lot of time focusing on work campers and making sure that segment of our employee pool is really strong, to cultivate that next manager that really can help a location be successful.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the topics we have come up all the time is EVs. How's the KOA system doing on that front? Are you seeing a lot of parks looking at adding things? And has KOA been kind of advocating for more funding from the government to help maybe with some of this?
I gotcha. So are you talking more about amenities, Ben?
Well, EVs, electric vehicles.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just misheard you there.
No,
EVs.
sorry.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. KOA has been at the forefront of the EV discussion since the beginning. right? Where we talk to manufacturers about what's coming next in the guests that are going to be visiting us with EVs. We certainly have taken a look internally at our infrastructure and in understanding, what do we need to do to help facilitate, getting EVs a little more, especially charging stations, a little more widely dispersed across the KOA system. And yes, we certainly have been part of, some groups that have, been researching grant opportunities with the government to figure out how we might be able to augment some of the costs of the infrastructure that it would take to electrify, the system a little bit larger. So EVs is certainly something that we're interested in looking at and being on the forefront of that thought leadership.
I just saw the other day the FAA approved a flying car. So maybe we'll have flying RVs. Maybe you'll have to create landing strips and stuff. I don't know. So
you never know, Ben.
Who's what's coming? Who knows what's coming next?
Just be happy if the toilet flushes.
So I guess also on that kind of vein, I guess the solar eclipse is coming next year. Is that something that KOA is helping out people, their franchisees with? Are you doing any type of marketing or branding or anything for parks that may be located near the path of the eclipse?
100%. We've identified every property that's going to fall into that eclipse path, and we have put together tools from a national perspective and a local perspective for our locations to be able to take advantage of it. We had this unique opportunity with an eclipse a few years back, and there was a lot of learnings relative to that. And I think we've done a good job of applying those learnings to this next one. And I think we're going to be very prepared, and obviously it's going to be a very good event, profitable event, for KOA campgrounds.
I don't know how much data you get into, but do you know if there's any data on advanced reservations for around that time period? I know I'm kind of throwing you might not know.
Yeah, that one. Fine. I don't have like a prepared statistic on that today, but certainly something I could follow back up on.
Well, obviously, I know that the last eclipse. So, the last eclipse, it was that the problem was that the calendars weren't open soon enough, or some campgrounds had their calendars open and hadn't adjusted their rates yet, and really missed the opportunity to take full advantage of it.
That's exactly right, and those are the exact learnings I was talking about before of making sure that we, learn from the past and apply to the future. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I guess when you look ahead at camping, what's coming down the road, I guess, what's the next 5-10 years look like? How are you going to stay at the top innovation wise?
Well, I would start off with just, kind of going back to just one of KOA's core values, right? One of our core values is being progressive. We haven't stayed in business for 61 years by accident, right? We don't rest on our laurels. We're always thinking ahead and trying to think about what's coming next. I think the future of camping obviously is very strong. Over 90 million households, about 75% of U.S. households camp. I think that's huge. The market is ripe, and so is the opportunity for KOA campgrounds. If you think about, just a few years back, we launched the Kampground of the Future. Campthefuture.com is the website where you can go look at that. But we had 5 different motifs that we kind of put out there, right? We had forest, coastal, desert, mountain, urban. And, certainly there are components of that we're still working to realize. There's things that have been put in place, but there's also those aspirational things that we want to continue, that we, put the pedal down and keep moving things forward. From an internal focus perspective, I think we really remain focused on digital innovation as the essential utility to our business ecosystem. Whether it's, the marketing team, really focusing and looking diligently at trends and what's coming next to make sure that we're planning well, I think is really important. Looking at emerging technologies and benchmarking that against, our current capabilities. But technology is going to be at the forefront of everything we do, obviously, going forward. So we certainly see that. We're pushing on accessibility, right? Yeah. We want to make sure that the outdoors is fun and for everyone. And so we're focused on making sure that our campgrounds are more accessible than ever, so that more people can enjoy that opportunity in nature. Some other things that we've done to really kind of continue to put the pedal down on keeping innovation at the forefront is we have Kampground of the Future grants. So we source great ideas, right, internally. And when they come to the forefront, we look at those as maybe potential grant opportunities to support our locations and offer features that are really going to help us, look at the future. I think the utility costs continue to rise, from a practicality perspective, just looking at things, how you can augment and look at new technologies that are emerging to get smarter about, saving water and diverting waste and thinking about, electrical costs and how you reduce your consumption. I think those are all things that we're really focused on as we look ahead.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think we're getting ready to wrap up here, but I guess, Darin, where are you guys hosting your convention this year?
Convention is in Las Vegas. Viva KOA, right? So we'll be in Las Vegas in November this year, and certainly looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, it looks like it's been a great summer on the, campers are heading out to parks, I guess. Are you seeing that on the KOA front? Are you seeing a lot of your parks filled so far this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, numbers have continued to improve as we've kind of, headed now into peak camping season. But, our winter properties had great winters, which was exciting, and advanced deposits continue to improve. And there is no doubt that our properties are definitely in the throes of the peak camping season. And each and every week, our statistics and what we're seeing across the system are improving, both in nights, rate and overall reservations, which is great. So a lot of people out there enjoying the great outdoors, which is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't live very far from a highway, and you see RVs driving down all the time. So it's great to see all the RVs on the road. So some of them are huge, and I'm scared to pass them on the highway, but it's great to see them out there. But it's been great talking with you, Darin. I hope you have a great rest of the summer. Thanks for giving us an update. I'm sure I will see you in Las Vegas this fall. So,
yeah, Ben, Mike, thank you. Sure appreciate the opportunity. I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah.
Well, it was good to see you again, Darin, and say hi to all my friends back there.
I definitely will, Mike. You bet.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you for listening to WCM's Park Update, a production of Woodall's Campground Magazine. Join us for a new show each Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn for daily news and updates, and subscribe to our news feed on our website at woodallscm.com. Show hosts are Ben Quiggle and Mike Gast. Executive producers Rick Kessler and Alex Burkett. Copyright 2022, G&G Media Group.